morning, guys. So welcome to today's training. So who understands what's today's training all about?
Pressure.
Okay, good. So yes, today is all about stress, but most importantly is how we are able to manage stress. Okay. But before we actually start, we're going to do a little simple exercise, which needs you guys to move around a little bit. Because of the space, we're just going to stand or sit. Okay. So basically, I'm going to read out a few topics, and if it's applicable to you, you just have to stand. Okay? So for example, if you ever snooze your alarm more than twice in one day, so if it's applied, means if you snooze, then you stand up. Okay? So who has snoozed? Oh my god! Oh, okay, so more than only one very disciplined. Okay, let's see. Okay, next. If coffee is your go-to stress relief, who always needs to drink coffee? Okay, so you can identify, you can see around you. Okay, now, who ever sent a text to a wrong person? So I messaged someone and like, oh, Crystal didn't. Okay, now, who forgotten an important password before? Including me when I was trying to look for a password. Okay. Now you see, right? You see a little bit of a pattern here. Okay, now let's go to something a little bit more deep into understanding stress. Okay. So who has ever felt very overwhelmed with work or any life responsibilities? Okay, so who is work? Who feels more stressed with work? Who feels more stressed with life? Both. Who feels both? Okay, high five the person next to you. Okay, let's see. Okay, last but not least, who has ever Googled how to relieve stress? How to stress relieve? Oh, okay. So you have. Do you want to share a little bit what findings you have after you Google? What have Google told you?
Apparently Google just shows like you can do a lot of activities to relieve stress, like meditation, yoga, pilates, having 2 hours walk in the forest or garden. There's all sorts of exercise that can help you relieve stress.
Okay, so they are more on the exercise. Have you practiced any of it?
Yeah, eventually it's yoga.
Yoga? Okay,
Yeah,
how do you find
pilates.
after yoga?
For me, it's even more tiring.
Because I know some of you guys might not like yoga.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So today we're going to explore different ways on how to relieve stress. So that is our final end objective, right? So we understand stress, and then we need to find out what are the practical ways to relieve stress. Okay? So thank you so much for participating. So I'm just going to give you a little brief introduction. So my name is Rachel, so I'm a trainer for today. I have a Bachelor of Psychology and Business from Australia. So I'm also a psychologist master graduate. So I'm an educational therapist back in Australia, and then back now I'm also a nutritional consultant and recently certified trainer. So today your topic is on building resilience with stress and emotional management, but I also do balanced diet management and mindful communication. So balanced diet and mindful communication is a branch out from stress and emotional management. So later we're going to explore a little bit on how and why it's a branch out from the bigger umbrella, which is stress and emotional management. Okay? So that's about me. So now we're going to go through the room and have you guys share a little bit about yourself, what you do, and one thing that stressed you out this week. Okay? That one thing. I know that's a lot, but if we go through everything, we won't be able to cover by today. But just a brief one, what stressed you out today? Okay, we're going to start with Julia.
Very stressed now. The first one. I'm Jessie. I'm working as a marketing manager in a crypto company. So as you know, crypto company is like 24/7. That's why it's like you never sleep. So yeah, that's where the stress comes out.
Okay, thank you so much, Jessie. We'll move on to the next.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Princeton here. I'm currently working as a senior account manager for a computer company. So my stress of the month would probably be my ROM for this week. Yeah, this is something that has to be perfect because it's once in a lifetime. So that's where my stress is going to.
Okay, thank you so much, Prism, for sharing. Move on to
Hi, I'm Crystal. So I'm a kindergarten teacher. So I'm stressed now is I just resigned. So I'm stressful. I don't know what is my next step actually.
Okay, good. Thank you so much for sharing. Next.
I'm Haley, a health advisor from Ghana. So my stress for this week mainly is for my baby. Yeah, I have a 2-month-old baby. So a new mother. So a lot of things I need to learn. So that's where the stress comes from. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing, Haley. Last but not least,
Okay, my name is Shirley. I'm a submission coach. This week I'm very stressed on my son because of holiday. And just because of this course, I only got me time 2 hours. So I'm so happy.
because of today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Leave already or stress.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing. So what do we see in common across the sharing? What have you identified? Have anyone picked up anything similar or different? So remember, just try to recall what you guys shared on your stress. So you have work stress, life, work, life. Alright. So in a nutshell, stress, one of the stresses has 2 components, right? One is work, one comes from work, and one comes from life. So we're going to explore a little bit deeper actually what is stress about and what is the difference between a good stress and a bad stress. Okay? So before we go on, so this is just a cross overview of what we're going to cover today. So basically this training module is designed to empower you guys with the knowledge and also tools on how to manage stress more effectively, enhance your emotional well-being, because as today's participants, we're all women, so we are more emotional compared to the male, so we are able to enhance a little bit more on the emotional management and also build resilience during this challenge situation. So I'm going to explain a little bit more about resilience along the training. So don't be worried if you are not familiar with this resilience, how it goes about it, okay? And then by the end of this course, you'll be able to recognize the cause and also types and symptoms of stress. You'll be able to understand the impacts of stress, as well as apply how practical stress management techniques to maintain your emotional and stress. Last but not least, to also develop your resilience by cultivating and adapting to these strategies. Okay? Some house rules. Okay, in any training there will be house rules. So I know phone is your most important asset. You cannot lose your phone. So please make sure that in silence. You are able to still pick up your call for any urgent matters. So don't worry about that. It's just that for this smooth training session, so we would like the phone to be on silent. Please participate. So please raise up your hand if you have any questions, and do address if questions have been asked, so I can ensure that all of you understand what is happening. Okay? And then the toilet is over there, so feel free to go to the toilet as of when you guys need. You don't have to put up your hands. This is not school class. Okay? It's not small little kids. So you guys are adults. You guys can go to the toilet whenever you need it. Last but not least is to learn, grow, and also adapt today's strategies to your everyday life. Okay? Great. So, in a nutshell, just now we mentioned of the course objectives, but today we're covering understanding stress, the impact of stress on health and work performances, practical stress and emotional management. Last is also developing resilience. Okay, so after these points, who has questions? All ready to start?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to start with, so before we go on to what we're going to start with, for understanding stress, we're going to start off with a perceived stress scale test. So it's in front of you, so later on we'll go through it. After this, we'll be learning on the definition and types of stress. We'll be identifying stresses and also the symptoms of stress. Okay? So let's begin. The first one will be your perceived stress scale test. So So in front of you, there's this perceived stress skill test. Okay. So in each questions below, you can identify which one applies to you the most. Okay. So 0 being never, 1 almost never, and to the extent of 4 very often. After that, then we'll go through the calculation. Then we'll be able to identify what is your stress score. Okay? So let's begin. You have 5 to 10 minutes to complete this, and this whole training will be done in 4 hours. Okay? Okay, have you guys completed? Haven't completed? Okay. So if you see, for question 4, 5, 7, and 8, so these 4 questions, you need to reverse your calculation. Okay, so if it's 0, it becomes 4. If it's 1, it becomes 3. If it's 2, it maintains a 2. If it's 3, it becomes 1. And if it's 4, it's 0. So you reverse the score for these 4 questions. So 4, 5, 7, 8, you're going to reverse the score. Okay, once you reverse the score, then you add it up together. Okay, so we'll wait for newcomer. So Jesse's ready. Okay. 26? No? So far, no? Oh, okay. No one's 26. Okay. We're going to see who's the lowest then, okay? Since no one's above 26. Maybe Elaine. Let's hope Elaine is not over 26. Okay, in a show of hands, for Elaine it's ready, anyone is between 14 to 26. 14. Oh, okay. Oh, all of you are 14 to 26.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, because in one of my sessions, there's one went over 30. So they are high amount of stress. And guess what the occupation is? Over 30. Correct. Accountant. Yes. Accountant. And especially during this season. Yes. So theirs is over. But yours is moderate, okay, which is good. But who is at the lower end, which is 14 to 20? What can you score? 60. Wow. Okay, then who is at the higher end, which is 20 to 26?
Me.
22.
Oh, 20. Okay, what's your score? 21? 21, okay, 24. 24? 22. Oh. Okay, that makes me sure wedding very stressed. Okay, let's see the 8th one. So do you think this scoring matches how you guys feel as your stress level? Or do you think it's supposed to be more? More stress than what it's supposed to be? I think for Haley, she would think it's normal. Your score. Do you think it's normal or it should be more than what you got? Normal? Okay. I think Jessie feels that yours is more, is it?
Yeah, but then after knowing like, there are more people who are having higher stress level, okay, I need to control my own stress level.
Okay, so we see, now she's calculating. Yeah, 所以是多少？对。Okay, so 21. So got 321, and then you have the higher end of stress. Okay, so this is basically just an indicator at current moment your stress level. But now we're going to dive deeper to understand what is stress all about. Okay, so now you have your indicators of stress. Then later on you'll be identifying what type of stress you are having. Okay, so we're going to move on to the definition of stress. Who knows or who have an idea what's the definition of stress? What do you think stress is?
Cannot settle the problem.
Okay, when you cannot settle the problem,
Things are out of your control.
when things are out of your control, very
Hello?
good.
Your emotions.
We are able to good.
You are helpless.
Okay, you feel helpless with the situation. Hailey, with your newborn baby.
Kind of emotions that you feel is good and bad stress. So I think it's not necessarily towards the bad side.
Okay,
Kind of emotions.
okay, good. How about Elaine? What do you think stress is about?
It's more like, I think all the answers.
It covers a little bit about everything, right? Okay. So later on, I will brief you on what actually stress is. But now there are two types of stress. Okay. A lot of people only think stress at the bad side, means I'm very stressed because this and this happened. But there are also good stress. So good stress are known as eustress. Okay. So Okay, because in this end, work enhancement, you get promoted, is a good type of stress when you're taking on a new project. Okay, that means things are happening and there are something new happening into your life. Next, when you start on a new hobby. So for example, some people like to ski. Or some people, what's the in sport now? Pickleball. Right? Pickleball, paddle tennis. These are the in sports now. When you pick up a new sport and you become a little bit more competitive, there will be stress elements because you want to be better. Right? So this is the positive form of stress. And now we look at the negative form of stress, known as distress. So this is what everyone are very, very familiar with. Okay? So it is the negative form of stress. For example, a lot of you guys mentioned heavy workloads. Things that you are unable to control. It's beyond what your body or what your mind can take, right? Family conflict. A lot of conflicts between family, work. These are things that are happening in our everyday life. Financial problems. Okay? And last but not least, health issues.
Yeah.
Okay? So we are looking at all these negative forms of stress. So in a nutshell, when we look at distress, the negative form of stress, right, is basically your response to a demand or a pressure which is reducing your capacity to cope. Okay, so I make it a little bit more clear. It's when your demand is more than your ability to cope. When things are happening in your everyday life and your body is unable to manage to that capacity anymore. So that is when usually you will have stress, or when you feel stress. Okay? So it also will define between the relationship of an individual when you are unable to cope with the demand that is happening, the mechanism that is happening in your everyday life. Okay? So is this one clear so far? Where your demand is more than your ability to cope. Okay? So, stress test. So a lot of, just now when we have that introduction, you guys all shared about what makes you stress.
Yeah.
So we have work and we have life, right? So basically, stress as a whole, it consists of your internal factors and also external factors. We're going to explore a little bit on both of this. What are the internal factors and what are external factors? And as just now when you guys shared, it differs between individuals. Not everyone feels the same stress as you guys feel. For example, people feel stress because now it's a period of ROM, marriage. But some people might take that stress very lightly. They might not maybe as important. So marriage to them or managing, coping with it, to them is not stressful. Okay, but to you it is. So what I want to mention here is because different people have different vulnerabilities levels. So your acceptance is very different. Okay? For example, just like I mentioned the marriage, deadline. Some people like deadlines. They work with deadlines. Okay? So that's why at certain levels they won't feel stressed. And then we also have house chores. It's very simple. If you like doing house chores, it's not stress. But to some, if you don't like it and you see your clothes piling up, especially when you have newborn kids, it becomes stress because who is it to manage, right? Okay. So internal factors, we look at 3 P's. Malaysia has 3 P's. Stress, internal factors also have 3 P's. Okay. The first P we look at personality. Why personality determines, or why personality will cause us stress? Because everyone manages differently. Everyone has different personality. Everyone has different ways to manage their personality. So if some people are born to be a little bit more calm, so to them maybe the stress level or the threshold will be higher. That means they are able to accept stress more. Okay? So this is how personality basically is how an individual reacts to stress in a certain situation. Okay? Next. Perfectionism. Perfectionist. Okay, so this is one of the highest amount of stress if you are a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Okay? So that means when you are setting unrealistic standards for yourself. Okay? Imposing unrealistic standards on others and a belief that other people are having these perfectionist expectations on you. You see the 3 differences? They are all fall under perfectionism, but they are 3 very different how perfectionists are carried out. One is yourself. That means you put this stress upon yourself. I need to be so and so. Okay? Second is others. So usually when you put stress upon, or when you are perfectionist upon others, very likely because you don't trust them. So you have certain expectation of others, and if they don't meet that expectation, that's stress on you. Because you have this perfectionist expectation. Okay? Last but not least, I would think is one of the most severe cases is when you have the belief that other people see that you are a perfectionist.
More stress.
Correct. Because your belief is what others see upon you.
Yeah.
It's not what you see upon yourself. It's not what you put on other people. It's what you think other people think of you. So then you start to be a little bit more wary of what is happening. You start to look at yourself very much differently. And you put more pressure on yourself because to other people, you have to be perfect. Okay? So together, perfectionist with the next P is what I would call as the most stressful situation. Okay? So the third P goes to procrastination. Okay? So procrastination is basically the avoidance of specific tasks or work that needs to be completed. Why I say perfectionism and procrastination is like the worst case scenario. Why do you think so?
You can't really cope with the work anymore, so you need a break. Then you procrastinate, then end up it will be bigger stress.
Correct. Okay?
Yeah.
Spot on. It's basically it. People that procrastinate is because they feel that they are unable to cope. But why are they unable to cope? Because they're too perfect. They want it to be perfect. Right? So it comes to a point where, oh, now I want this thing, I want this event, or I want this project to be perfect. But it's not moving at the state as you want it to be. So, why not I wait? I wait. Until when? Until deadline comes. Until you come to no point, you have to finish it. That's when your stress double up. Okay? So we're looking at this internal factor. So far, everyone got this internal factor? So far, okay, yeah? Okay. So we'll move on to external. So you see this internal is all about everything happening within your control. It's put upon you, happens to you, what you are able to control or not. Okay? Now we're going to look at external factors. External factors, it differs between different individuals, and like I said just now, it might cause stress to some people, it might not cause stress to some people. For example, now we are dining, okay? So let's say we are dining at a 5-star restaurant, a fine dine, okay? And then so happened, a waitress brought your wine of glass, but the waitress accidentally poured it and it spilled onto your clothes, okay? So if on that day, you start off your day very nice, and then it ended up as such, how do you think that person will feel, or that woman would feel, if the day has started off very nicely? Do you think they will be more stressed, more frustrated, or they will be like, oh, it's okay, it happens, it's human error? Who do you think is the first one? They will be more frustrated. How about the second one? It's okay, life moves on.
Last time was the first one, now it's the second one. It's karma.
Okay, so it's the second one. But imagine before entering that restaurant, that person had an argument with the partner. So in the car ride, they were unhappy about each other. There's certain arguments, bad things were said, and then they went to a restaurant and this happened. Do you think the woman that got spilled that wine will be unhappy, or they will be like, it's okay, it happens? Which one feels that they will be unhappy? Exactly. So these are what we say that it differs among individuals, but it also differs between what has happened. It's the environment, it's what externally has happened that causes that spark of the moment. Okay? So we can't say, for example, in that situation that that person is as such personality, because that's not her personality, right? It's an external factor that causes that issue to happen. Okay? So the other one is also the coping mechanism, and the pressure is unbalanced. if they started off their day very calmly, very happily, that means they are at a very balanced emotion. So what happens after? It maintains. It wouldn't cause much of a up or low. Okay? It wouldn't fluctuate that basically as much. But if any incident happens before, or they were supposed to have a good day, kids are with the in-laws, that no kids is their day, and then something happened in the car. It's very unexpected. This is what happens. Okay? So we can also say external factors caused by change. How do we say so? We look at two main factors. Okay? One is stressful life events. So we have unhappy stressful life events. For example, someone passed. Okay, means you lost a loved one. You also have more work that needs to be done. Say you are supposed to go on a break, you're supposed to go on holiday, but you still have to work. Okay? And conflict. That means you have disagreement or conflict with either your peers or your boss. So this is what happens when it's a stressful life event. But you also have good stressful life events that is also caused by external factors. We look at you're moving to a new house. Okay? So these are positive events that are happening in your life and they are good. Job offer. So just like I mentioned, promotion, there's a new opportunity. Last but not least, marriage. Okay? Everyone sees marriage as a life-changing event. But whether it's stressful or not is up to that individual. But if we look at it as a whole, as an external factor, it is a stressful life event. Okay? Then we also have, so just to summarize on this part, it's basically whenever there's a change in your life, it's part of a source of stress. Whenever change happens. Okay? So if you see all these, they are changes in your life, whether it is good or bad. Okay? And if you experience a lot of life events or changes over a period of time, this will result in anxiety and even burnout. So later on, we're going to explore a little bit more about the impact of stress. Okay? So what are the impacts to your physical and also psychological state of stress? Okay? So we're going to move on now to external factors that is caused by work. So just now we talked about stressful life events. So a lot of just now you guys mentioned the wedding, you have a newborn baby, and then you don't have me time, right? So these are life events. We look at work now, okay? When there's too much workload and you're on a time pressure, there are deadlines. You need to do things within a certain time, and especially from a blockchain point of view, things are fluctuating at a very, very fast pace, okay? So these are time pressures, and they are also workload because it's end of the year. We also look at interpersonal conflict. This one will be, we'll discuss a little bit more in our next session, which is more on communication. But interpersonal conflict is it's part of a bigger umbrella of stress because you're dealing with humans. Okay? You're dealing with human emotions. You're also dealing with another party's stress level. So it's not an object because work is fixed. Okay? You are able to change it at every moment. So it's not fixated. But with human emotions, this part gets big. It's a bigger umbrella that we need to explore. Okay? Last, we also have job security concerns. So just now Crystal mentioned, because she just resigned. So now she's thinking about what is next. Where is my fixed income? When can that happen? The job security concern is part of your work stress trigger. Okay? And last but not least, I feel everyone would have experienced one way or another. Personally, I have as well. Work-life balance. When you fixate too much of your time at work, when does life happen? But you work to have a good life, isn't it? Yeah. But if you fixate too much on work, your life is not happening. But if you fixate too much on your life, work gets piled up. Yeah. So you are able to find that balance. Okay? So these are some of the external factors that we are going to have identified, and we're going to explore what are these impacts to our physical and psychological health. Okay? So just a little recap. So today, just now in the first module, we had understanding stress. So we did a stress skill test. So this one that everyone did. And then we move on to understanding definition and also the types of stress. And then we also have stresses, which are external and internal stress, and also symptoms of stress. Okay, so which we'll explore more later on the physical, emotional, cognitive, and also behavioral stress. Okay, so up to this point, anyone has questions? If no one has questions, I'm going to ask you guys questions to make sure that you understand. Okay, so there are two types of stress. So what are those two types of stress?
Eustress and distress.
Good. So what are the differences between eustress and distress? Positive and negative. Okay, so say now I'm moving to a new house. Okay, and there's a lot of renovation going on. Is that part of a good stress or a bad stress?
Good stress.
Good. Okay, so now say I just had an argument with a colleague because of some job misunderstanding. Is that a good stress or a bad stress?
Bad stress.
Okay, so anyone else can give me one more example of a good stress?
Being promoted at work.
That is my example. Okay, being promoted at work. Great. How about bad stress, a distress? One more last example. Financial problem. Great. So this is the difference between the eustress and distress. And then now we have stressor. So stressor we have identified how many stresses? Two. Okay, so what are the two stresses? Correct. So we have external and internal stress. Okay, so external, just elaborate a little bit more. Internal stress, what are the three P's?
Personality.
Perfect.
Great. So the three P's are the personality, perfectionism, and procrastination. And external factors. So there are main two. One is stressful life events, and one is life, one is
Work.
correct. Okay, so it's easy to remember, right? Okay. So anyone, before we move on to the next module, anyone needs to go to the toilet? We're going to take any toilet break or we can continue? If you guys want to grab water, yes, feel free to grab water with the glass over there. Okay. No toilet break. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the impact of stress. Okay, so the next one we're going to talk about impact of stress. So just now we explore what is stress, what are different types of stress, and the types of stress and the stresses. Okay, so we're going to explore how it impacts us, how it impacts our health and our work performances. Okay, let's look at statistics. Okay, so this is done at a global level. So 56% individuals slept less than 7 hours per night.
Yeah.
And everyone agree? So you are part of this 56%, right? Okay, and among this 56%, 53% is due to work-related stress. It's because of work, they are unable to sleep or they don't have quality sleep. Okay? A study also indicated that heavy stress could shorten your life expectancy by 2.8 years in men and 2.3 years in women. Okay, so this is something that you guys have to really take note of. We are looking at the 2.3 years. Okay, so this is how heavy stress will shorten our life expectancy. I think one of the most shocking one is this. Workplace stress contributes to around or almost 120,000 deaths annually.
Oh my God.
Okay, annually means we're looking at per year. Per year. Okay, and 33.7 adults believe that stress is the one that significantly affected their health. Okay, it worsened their physical and mental health concerns. Okay, the top one out of these deaths, the 120,000 deaths, what do you think the cause of it is? So we have approximately 120,000 deaths annually, right? Caused by stress. What do you think the top one cause of death is from? So they drink a lot. Okay. So your breathing is drinking. Who else have any other ideas? Suicide. Okay. Anyone else have any other idea? Or you think it's either or? Okay, lack of sleep, lack of rest. So this will cause maybe cardiovascular concern, right? Okay, so actually people mentioned it right. Okay, among these approximately 120,000 deaths, the top one cause of death is suicide. Because they are unable to cope. They are unable to cope with stress that is happening in their daily life, whether it is work or life. That's why they decided to commit suicide. Okay, so that's why this section is very important because later on we're going to explore how to manage stress. Okay, so after statistics, let's look at why is managing stress essential. So just now you have statistics, okay, and then now you look at this. Why do you think stress is important? Why managing stress is important? Motivation, okay, so you can live longer. Live happily.
For me, it's just the one dream.
You want to achieve your dream. Okay, how about Haley? Why do you think managing stress is essential? I know your stress level is the lowest among the six of you, but why do you think managing stress is essential? Driving force, okay, to move forward to achieve something.
打破我的生死啊！这个 stress 可以。
What can you do after managing stress? Or how because you have the lowest score, so that means your stress level isn't that high.
Actually, she always can settle a lot of it. Just very chill. Oh, it's okay. This is the time.
Okay, so later we have her share why she's so chill. How is it so chill? Okay, how about Crystal? Why do you think managing stress is essential? Why? So say now you're very stressed, but why is knowing how to manage it important? Okay, very good. Because stress affects your emotion. So when you're very stressed, how do you feel? Very tired, very frustrated. Okay, good. How about Crystal?
The importance of managing stress for me is
Okay, so same as me, no? So the driving force, right? To let you guys move forward. Okay. How about Jeffrey? Why do you think managing stress is important?
Quite similar, but at the same time, when you're stressed, you affect your performance. Yeah, it's very important. Performance and your emotion. Because when you don't perform well, it affects your emotion. So it's a very bad cycle.
Okay, correct. So if we look at what is being shared, right? So just now, I think Jessie summed it up. Okay, it's about performance. It's also about your emotion. So why stress and emotion management are always together, and why I train it together? Because it happens concurrently. When you are stressed, there's emotional happening. You need to manage it both effectively. Okay. So if we look at what is being shared, these are the top 3 reasons why statistically managing stress is essential. Because yes, it increases your work efficiency, means increased productivity. Whether you are working for a company or you are an entrepreneur, if you know how to manage stress effectively, you are able to increase your work productivity. That means you are able to get things done fast and efficiently. Okay? Mental health is your priority. You want to manage your stress so that you can have a sound mind, a sound emotion. Because if you are unable to manage your emotion well, there are impacts. Okay, which we are going to explore. Last but not least, we're going to prevent chronic illnesses. Chronic illnesses are like, what are chronic illnesses? Cardiovascular health. Okay, we're looking also at the 3 types. Okay, we are also looking at cancer. Okay, so one of the leading cause of what causes cancer is not genetic, it's because of stress.
Yep.
Okay, Okay, so stress is a silent killer. So we call it as a silent killer. Okay, so now we're going to see what are the impact of stress. Okay, so when we look at stress, it's basically also the stress response, okay, of what has happened. It's also known as the fight or flight response. Basically, it's activated when you perceive a threatening situation, and it is designed to enable survival. For example, you are sleeping very soundly at home, and suddenly you hear a noise. Okay, you hear a noise of someone opening the door. Or you remember that you closed all the doors. Okay, so what is your first response when you hear that?
Is the morning or night?
Night.
Yes.
Morning maybe can come out. Okay, at night when you're sleeping very soundly, 2, 3 a.m. and suddenly you hear a sound of a door opening. What is your first response? Fear. Okay, you guys are all fearful, right? What is the next step? What do you guys do in that situation?
Like the something.
I wanted to call some person.
Call someone who grabs something that is nearest to you guys,
Yeah.
right? So these are responses. Okay? So stress will also have response in your body. It will causes certain reaction activated to your body's own natural ability to prevent stress from happening further on. Okay? But when everyone has, I would say everyone has a certain threshold of accepting stress. Okay? Because you can't avoid stress. But when you feel most stressful, is that's when your body or your ability to cope, it's your inability to cope to the demand. Okay? So in situation where you are actually sleeping, that's when you're most calm, right? And then you heard something. So that stress level heightens. Because you don't know how to respond. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know who came in. And you don't know what's the next step. So that stress response increases. Okay? But it will also enable you to survive. So when we look at the impact of stress, we are exploring 4 main categories. Physical, emotional, cognitive, and behavioral. Okay, so now some people ask, what is cognitive? Okay, so physical symptoms. Physically, that means we feel certain injuries, we feel discomfort to your body. Whether you have digestive concern, your lower immune system, muscle tension, those are all part of physical symptoms. Okay? Emotional symptoms. Emotional symptoms can be like anxiety. It can be like you're very irritated. Okay? Okay, you're very irritated. You have mood swings. Okay? Women, right? So we have mood swings. And when you feel very overwhelmed, okay, that is your emotional impact of stress. Now we look at cognitive. Cognitive is how your brain responds. It means you are unable to concentrate. Maybe you forget things more easily, or you have negative thinking. That means everything that happens, you will think that it's bad. I don't want to do this. Why is this happening? Why is it always me? Okay, these are all negative thinking. Okay, and then last but not least, also indecisiveness. When you are unable to decide whether you want this or that. Okay, in Chinese it's very困难. Okay, so usually if you want something, you know. But when you are unable to decide, it causes that amount of stress. Right? It's that stress that causes you to be like, I want this, I want that, which one? I buy all. Okay? Last but not least, we also look at behavioral. Behavioral would be like, for example, excessive drinking. That is a change of behavior. Right? That means normally if you're someone that likes to drink 1 glass of wine, and one particular day because I'm very stressed, I drink 1 bottle. Okay? Okay, so that's excessive drinking. Maybe increase the use of drugs. So when you go into taking drugs for certain relief or escape, so that's some behavioral changes. Or when there is change in your sleep pattern. Okay, that means you're unable to sleep as soundly. So that means you're having like insomnia. these are impacts of stress under behavioral. Okay? So far, everyone get these 4 categories.
Yeah.
Okay. So today we're going to explore a little bit more into physical as well as emotional and behavioral. Okay. So emotional and behavioral is what we categorize. Actually, emotional, cognitive, and behavioral is what we will categorize as psychological impact. Okay. So we look at physical and psychological impact. Okay. So now look. Oops. Okay, so look at stress on physical health. The first one, increased heart rate. That means your heart rate beating. What's that called? BHM, is it? Beat per minute. BPM.
BPM.
Per minute. Increase. So have anyone ever experienced when you are stressed, that amount of heart rate increases? Okay. How do you feel when the heart rate increases?
Very tough to do.
Hard to breathe. Okay. How about Shafi?
Cannot move anything. Just, yeah.
Oh, so you feel like
Cannot move. Really cannot move one. Only one. Very
stiff.
you cannot control your breath already.
Oh, okay. Wow, that is like a very
Over
severe.
138. My heartbeat. So I straight go hospital. Hospital. Yeah.
Oh, the resting heart rate.
Mhm.
What happened when you experience that? What causes you to experience that?
Because work stress. Then the time I cannot open my mouth. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then you were hospitalized.
1 week in the hospital.
What did the doctor say?
Too strict.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thyroid lah. Of course, I have eat some medicine is release your stress. Pink color one here.
Okay, okay. Wow, so you see. So these are one of the most severe impact, obvious and normal increased heart rate. Two, you would call that also a chronic illness, because thyroid causes because of stress, right? Because if you realize, if you do certain, maybe you do some research, thyroid happens mostly or more prevalently in women.
No, now it's guys already.
Oh, now guys as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so we have a new statistic. Okay, that impact guys as well. So that's why it's very important to learn how to manage our stress. Okay. Then next we have rapid breathing. Rapid breathing means that you can't catch your breath. That means even without exercising, you feel that you can't catch your breath because your heartbeat is increasing, and then you are unable to catch your breath. So a lot of people at this stage, what happens? What's the illness that causes from this? Correct. You have heart attack. Okay. So heart attack happens anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
So it's not because we have certain nowadays. It's not because we have certain underlying illness. For example, the tree high that causes heart attack. If you look at the news, even when you're playing badminton, it happens. Okay. So you need to understand why you guys are stressed and how to manage your stress. Okay. Muscle tension. Who feels this whenever they're stressed? Where? Which part the most?
Neck and shoulder.
Neck and shoulder. The back. Okay. How about Elaine? Everywhere.
Including the head also.
Okay.
Yeah,
So head, we're talking about migraine. Okay. So when you're overworking, your brain activity increases, and a lot of people will think that, oh, I only have migraine, but actually it starts from your neck and so when you're stiff neck, it all causes migraine to happen. Okay. So these are one of the causes of muscle tension. And by the end of this session, we'll do a very simple physical muscle relief exercise so that we can bring on to the next session on some practical strategies. Okay, so we're looking forward to that. Okay, and then last but not least, we have digestive issue. One thing that I didn't include also includes immune system. So we're talking about autoimmune diseases that happens, also digestive issues. So personally, I feel digestive issue the most. So whenever I'm stressed, I'm unable to go to the toilet or I will feel gastric. Because when I'm stressed, I don't like to eat. Okay, so it's a cycle. So I know that I'm stressed when I'm gastric. Yeah. So sometimes when your stress level, you're too immune to your stress and you don't know that you're stressed, Your physical health will let you know. It will prompt you that, hey, your body's too much stress. You need to relax. Okay? So who experiences this like immune system as well. They're all together. Okay? So that is why this
Let's go at the lowest.
we don't put our hands at all. Okay? So this is why managing stress is very, very important because these are some of the effects on physical health. Okay? Now we're also going to look at psychological health. Physical health can be easily managed. Okay? So I'm going to say again, if it's your physical health, let's go back. If it's your physical health, it's easily managed. Okay? So that means maybe with increased heart rate, okay, I go to the hospital, or I rest. When it's rapid breathing, okay, I chill for a bit, or I don't think for anything, or I go to the hospital. Muscle tension, maybe I go for a massage, I go to a physiotherapist, or I do some stretching. When I have digestive issue, either I eat or I take supplements, right? But when it goes to psychological health, okay, so why psychological health is mental health issues are getting more and more popular nowadays because people might not know how to better manage their stress and they let it be. Okay, why I put anxiety and depression closer together? Because if you don't manage anxiety well enough, depression happens.
Yeah.
Depression don't just happen like that. It happens because something has not been resolved. And it always starts with anxiety. Why anxiety happens? Too much work don't know how to manage. Or burnout. Okay, we're going to explore a little bit about burnout later to let you guys understand what is burnout. Okay, so anxiety. Who has any idea what is anxiety about? Or experience anxiety?
Like worried about the future, like not happen right now, but it's more worried about like future, like what about my kids on next year, what happened, or maybe like on next year promotion.
A lot of things lah, I think.
Yeah, so think a lot of like the future.
Good. Correct. So basically what Elaine has explained is about the future, and the one word that you guys need to take note of about anxiety is uncertainty. When it's uncertain of what is happening, anxiety usually happens. Okay? When you think too much, when you overthink of something that has not even happened yet, what if this happens? What if this, for example, I could put my wedding is on the 28th. What if they are all late? What if the time is like that? What if people don't show up? What if that? What if? You know? A lot of what if causes anxiety. But what if happens because you're uncertain. You don't know what's going to happen. Okay? So this is when anxiety happens. And if you don't address it, and we don't acknowledge anxiety is happening, and you let it be, that's when depression happens. Okay? Depression has a lot of scale. Okay? You have mild depression, mid, more aggressive, and severe. Okay? So why we do this kind of training is because we want you guys to identify what stress you guys are, the stress level, what causes your stress, and later on we will share on how you can manage stress. Some practical examples. Okay? Frustration and irritation. I think a lot of us when we go through the women that go through month, what's that? The month of the day of the month, the 5 days. This is when it happens more often. We are very irritated, we're very frustrated of things happening around us. Okay? It causes psychological health concerns because you are able to better manage it. Okay? Last but not least, burnout. Who has any idea what is burnout? What do you think burnout is? Sick? Okay. You feel burnout is sick? Okay. Anyone has any idea what is burnout? Sorry? Lifeless. Okay, so I give you a situation. Now there are a lot of work on hand. You need to do a lot of work. And I want to do it, but I can't. Okay? So I want to do all these tasks that is piled up. Okay? Maybe last time when you are grading, there are a lot, right? Because I teach a lot of kids, it piles up. I need to complete it maybe tomorrow because I have parents teacher meetings. But I don't want to do it. I just can't do it. This is burnout.
Something like it's over your ability.
Correct. When things that has your ability to cope is more than what you can take anymore. So I decided not to do it. I disengage. Okay? This happens a lot with when you have deadlines especially. You know that there are more than one deadline happening.
Yeah, like when during their parent teacher meeting, all the teacher will go through all the children's behavior. Like me, don't think about that. When I see the parent, I straight away, okay, think this children is like that, blah blah blah. I think the most they will same like
Yeah.
out like that.
Yeah.
But cannot release it because still need to.
You need to address, you need to settle, right?
So how to manage it?
So later on we'll go on to the practical strategies on how to manage it. But we need to know what effect it has on our psychological health. Okay? When burnout happens, it's when at times we are unable to effectively communicate. Because a lot of things are happening and it comes up to a point where you feel that your chest is very, very heavy. And you want to, yes. And you're unable to share or say anything. Because the more you say, the more you have to handle the situation. So, I might as well don't say it. And it happens with a lot of communication. If you realize maybe when you're stressed and things are happening, whether it is with your colleague or even back home, right? And it comes up to a point where you just can't deal with it anymore. You stop talking. Okay? So these are one of the reasons burnout happens and the effect of it. Okay? Then you will also look at
Like me, when I'm very angry, so I will, okay, my colleague, now you settle children. I go away to control myself first, calm down. Yes,
Correct.
this is our way. This is my way.
That's how you manage
Yes.
the situation, right? Correct. So you see how different people, when they meet different situations, they have a natural ability on how to cope and manage it, right? So just now, like you mentioned, when all this pile up, you choose to disengage. That means I step aside. You settle this, let me get back my emotions, then I'll come back to work, right? So this is also one of the practical strategies that I will share later on, okay? It's known as pause and reflect, okay? So it's a pause, reflect, and action. So this is one of the strategies that you can engage when you are managing stress, okay? But these are the psychological impact of stress. Then we're also going to look at how it affects our work performance and productivity. So you will feel the low concentration span. So whenever you are at a high amount of stress, you will feel that your productivity is low because you are unable to concentrate. Everything seems to you is like really all numbers, all words, all complaints, right? Then you just need to stop and not do anything, okay? Then you also look at, you are unable to make decisions. You decrease your decision-making ability, okay? So these are some of the effects of stress on work and productivity. Last but not least, your job satisfaction, because you have no motivation. So just now, Elaine mentioned why we need to manage stress, because we need to be motivated. If not, this is what happens. You decrease motivation, you are unable to engage, and then that's where absenteeism happens. Or when you see a company, it's very obvious. When you see a company have higher turnaround rates, that's when you know that the company is not managing employees' stress. Okay? If a company have low turnaround rates, it means people are not giving. That means you know that company is actually managing their employees' stress well. So it dwells a lot onto company culture, corporate culture. Okay? So these are the work performance productivity effects. We also look at effects of communication. Because when you are able to communicate effectively, that's when you are better managing stress. But if you are unable to manage stress effectively, like just now I mentioned, you are unable to communicate or collaborate to problem solving. Because you're too stressed already, you're unable to have any creative thinking, and you're unable to problem solve. Okay, so that means you teamwork will be lesser. Maybe you will increase conflict, whether if it's with your partner, your colleagues, your employer, okay, and we will also see negative tone and body language. When you're more stressed, sometimes your body language speaks. For example, this, crossing your hand, is something that maybe you unknowingly do it, but it conveys certain stress. That now I don't want to talk to you. So, okay, hurry up. You know, so body language speaks. Your negative tone, whether you are speaking at a higher pitch, lower voice, or even if you are responding. Okay? So all these has effects on your communication. Okay, so far anyone has questions? So far so good? Okay. Now we're going to move on to stress reliever exercise. This is part of the next session, so this is a transition for us to move on to the next session. But we're going to give you openings because now we're all sitting and we all listen to, understanding what stress is. Then we talk about impacts of stress. Maybe you feel more stressed. Okay, and we have been sitting for quite a lot of time. So we're going to do a simple muscle relaxation so that you know when you are seated, even in your car, or even when you are working at your work desk or at home, you're able to do these simple exercises to muscle release. Okay? Okay, so before we go on to the muscle relaxation, we're going to do a little bit of recap. And this is also an opportunity where you guys can ask me more questions on what we've covered in the first two modules. Okay? So at this session, we explore the impact of stress on health and work performances as well as communication. Right? So just now, we shared a little bit on why managing stress is essential. Why? So now after the whole session on this part, anyone has any thoughts or any changes that they think why stress is essential? Just now Haley did give sharing. So after this session, do you have any thoughts on why managing stress is essential?
To avoid leading to some bad impact, like just now you mentioned the death, suicide case, so that kind of thing is very effective.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else has any feelings or any opinion on why managing stress is essential?
Very essential because you can't really see it really stress.
Okay, so personal experience is
Yes.
it? So usually when you're stressed, how is your sleep pattern?
You'll wake up in the middle, like a few times.
Okay,
Yeah, you sleep.
so you feel that your body is rested but your brain activity is still moving. Okay. How about Crystal?
For me, I think it's very essential because first of all, it's like cycle. When you can't sleep very well, then the daily activity, the daily activity is not going through very smoothly. It will be very irritated and frustrated. And you can see that a lot of things doesn't go your way. Yeah, not just only you yourself feeling that way, but people will see that. Will see that and they will think that you didn't feel well last time. Yeah, that's what the question that they ask you.
Okay. So based on your appearance itself, they will also think that, hey, have
Are
you
you
rested
rested
well?
well? Yeah.
Okay. How about Crystal?
Like me, I will feel whole day will feel very tired at home. Then not interested in anything. I was like, what I'm here. When is the end?
I want to go home already, faster and
Okay,
for
okay.
myself whole day I will think like that. Faster, faster, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, faster, I want to go home.
Okay, you're waiting for time to pass faster.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. How about Tianyi?
For me, also like Crystal, but I just know a lot of people. Then I just hide me in the house doing my full-time like that.
Yeah, like me, like sometimes I will do like after people ask me to go out, I will think okay, but around the time I will think, can I later cancel or not? I don't want to go can or not. I got this feeling until now still same. Like just now I also like that.
Yes, okay.
I also got this feeling.
Okay, okay. Actually, I feel the same sometimes as well.
Oh.
I just want to hear from Elaine as well. Like just now you mentioned, managing stress is important because it's a motivator, it gives you that driving force. But what if you don't manage it well?
So I will feel like insomnia, then anxiety also, yes. So it's a lot of like mentality problem. Mentality help and then can cause my physical body also.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you feel both the effect,
Yes.
the psychological and
Yes,
also the
yes.
physical. Who feel more physical effect when they feel stressed? Means physically they feel like muscle tension, the digestive concern, they feel more physical. No, you guys all feel more mental,
Yeah.
more psychological concern.
Very dangerous.
Oh, very dangerous.
Is it the distress because we need the expect the result very fast, then the emotional is come out very fast.
Okay, so just now we talk about expectations, right?
Yeah.
So just now when we understand stress, one of the stressors, remember that internal and external factors.
Yeah.
So having expectation is, which one do you think? Internal or external factor?
External.
You think it's external? Who thinks it's internal?
Sorry, can I pardon?
So just now Tianyi mentioned that having expectations, that's why she feels stressed, right? It causes her psychological impact. So having expectation, is it an internal factor, stressor, what causes the stress? Is it an internal factor or is it an external factor?
Internal.
Okay, so you think it's internal, now you think it's external. You feel it's external.
Yeah.
How about you guys? What do you guys think?
There's expectation from others and also from yourself. So like something like that, no?
Okay? Both, right? Okay, so there's no right or wrong question. It's because how you perceive this expectation. Is it because you have certain perfectionists into you that you want to achieve certain things? Things needs to be perfect. There are expectations of how you see yourself and how others see you. Because in your industry, recognition maybe is one of the top concern that how other people see your achievement.
But my strength is the finance. If my bank got money,
Yes. Okay, so then it's more financial.
Yeah.
If you're talking more on financial,
Yes.
then it's internal or external? Financial.
External.
External. Yes. Because what happens from the outside that causes your stress, right? So financial insecurity. If you have expectations or based on your personality because you procrastinate, then you are able to do things, or you have certain perfectionist wanting to eat, then you will feel that, oh, this is what I feel I need to do, then the stress is imposed on myself. Right? So these are the differences. Okay, so now we're going to recap the first bit. But I just want to understand a little bit further. We have 3 soon to get married and 3 mothers. You see the difference? And then from a mother's perspective, we explore a little bit more on impact of stress. Okay, so I think this part of the quadrant, maybe they are looking into more work related, right? Because everything now is on financial, it's on work progress, it's on whether or not I'm able to earn complete deadlines. But from your side, there's that life aspect, your kids, family. Okay, so do you think being a mother differentiate yourself a little bit more, or do you think your stress level increases because now you guys are a mother? Yes?
Definitely.
Okay, what is your top one concern now as a mom? We start from who has the two kids.
Three kids.
Three.
I got a 12 years old and one baby.
So what's the age difference?
I got a 12 years old and 9 years old and another one is a 2.5 years old.
Wow.
So
Between
actually,
the eldest and okay.
so very headache now.
Yeah, quite a big
It's
gap.
a very
And
big
so when you thought, I can relax, then suddenly the youngest one pop out.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so how do you feel the stress level between your work and life? Which one has a higher proportion?
I think it's like, I think it's a both also, right? Because as a mother, right, being as a mother, when your children, a lot of people say, when your children grow bigger, then you will be relaxed. No such thing. It's because when your children, because especially like, I'm not sure that outside of the mother, but I'm the ones that like, I'm actually, because actually I'm quite anxiety of my daughter also. Okay, my elder is a daughter, the day is Okay, so because now she's entering a new school, it's a new campus, it's a transition from children to adult because she's a big teenager.
Yes,
So
yes.
it is a very headache also. It's because that she started want to like feel curious about guys. Man. So this is the one thing is very important. Then because she will know that I want to mommy, I want to hardcore So because she wants to know more about boys, then she wants to go out hanging out with friends. But currently also very scared because a lot of her news coming out.
Correct.
But and then she started like 顶嘴.
Okay, trying to go against your words now.
Yeah,
Okay.
against on my word. But then if let's say because now she's growing bigger, so during the small time, yes, of course I will like beat her lah. But now she got growing bigger, so I will talk nicely to her. But sometimes she will feel that my friend is correct. A lot of problem.
Okay, I can feel. I can feel Elaine has more than life and
Yes,
kids,
because
right?
this is a transition. Actually, this is a progress. But it depends on mother how to handle the problem. Because this is a progress. Last time, because I think back on last time during my teenager, yes, I also feel, yes, this is my progress also. So I can feel my mother also. But now I'm as a mother, so I also can feel it. So that's why I always tell to my daughter, and my friend and my husband, this is just a progress. Just let it
happen.
Let it happen is okay. Because this is a teenager. Then
Okay.
this is the elder.
Yeah.
Then this the
youngest one is a boy or?
boy.
Oh.
So the boy is a terrible too. No, mommy, no.
Different type of stress
Yes,
even with
different
kids,
type of
right?
stress.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing. How about Cindy? You
My
have
stress
two boys.
Yeah, two boys. My stress is because my elder son, he told me he will study the doctor, the scientist like that. So
Okay.
I come from my finance. How come the doctor? How much I need to study?
Financial planning. Okay.
Yeah. But about the attitude, the time, I don't worry because so far so good. Maybe I taught a lot the example. Maybe I still got the one best friends of the year, so the guide them.
Okay.
So
they have certain guidance to help you in with some energy concern with your boys.
actually my life, the boys also got that life. After 6 years, came to overseas already. So which school, which country, a lot of things. This one.
Okay. So there is a lot of planning
Yeah.
kids,
Like
right?
from one, I say it's a bit one, but I need to send to PJ to study. SMK Catholic. I surveyed a lot of school already.
Okay. Yeah, good.
Yeah, go school.
I think it's only the youngest one. She really hate it.
The youngest one, all follow the Coco. Unbalanced.
And always off against on
Yeah.
I also want.
Because they have someone to look up to, so they want to follow.
But Titi got very care about the skin.
Okay.
Because the Coco very fair, right?
Yeah.
the
So
day.
sports also will take care more.
Yeah, they care about the leg. Huh? The leg you need to cover.
Okay, okay.
Which one?
Thank you so much, Chinese. Okay, how about newborn mom? Newly awarded mom. Awarded mom.
At the night crying only.
Stress, I think because baby cannot talk, so you don't know what they are crying for. So
You need to explore,
Yeah.
learn, experience.
you need to guess is it hungry or the temper, diaper, food,
Or stomach
yeah, but sometimes everything seems
Okay.
already changed diapers, already drink milk, but still crying. So they went, what happened? Why still crying?
But still one second kid.
Baby is very cute. You know, baby cannot talk. Sometimes you worry when sleeping at night. You'll feel like, is the baby still breathing? Yes, my baby sleep facing down. So you will have
A lot
of things in your
things
mind.
happening.
Yeah, then you see a lot of news talking about baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you get 3 different stress level mom. So now from 3 soon to be mom in the future, do you guys feel that now it's actually less stressful in comparison to the mom group?
Definitely. More flexibility.
You have the life experiences for you guys are more flexible compared to those with kids. They have more to think about, more stress to manage. We will explore later. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing. And just now we also explore a little bit about your impact of stress, right? So we feel some muscle tension. We have the physical, the emotional, cognitive, and behavioral. But for emotional, cognitive, and behavioral, we classify them as psychological impact, right? So just now from all the sharing, we have who's the one that feels more physical? No one, all feel more psychological. You feel physical as well, with the muscle tension, is it? Or which one in particular?
Headache.
Headache.
is the most one. Yeah.
Okay, okay. But how do you manage it whenever you have headache?
Let it be.
Let it be.
But actually, it depends on the stress lah. So
Okay.
let's say, but okay, like now is the month end. I'm working as a sales, so you know, like month end is changing sales, so I will feel very stressful. So no choice, just have to fight and feel.
So you just let your headache be, migrated headache be
Sleep.
like that.
Yeah, sleep. This week I
sleep
this
a
week
lot.
also a lot. Actually, I sleep a lot when I feel myself is not in a very good condition. I need to sleep more to recharge because I found that how to recharge my body battery is sleeping.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I need to sleep more, and then I don't think about the works. I just pressing for. I can do whatever I like. I like swapping the phone. I'm so okay to recharge my body. So maybe after that, the second day, I will feel better. Then I will feel like more motivation.
Okay, okay. So Elaine will sleep and recharge. Personally, if I feel like I sleep too much, I get even more tired. Okay, so I can't sleep. Even though I'm very, very tired, I will still sleep. But I know that I overslept. Because that's when I feel even more tired, although I have slept more than say 12 hours. So I feel even more tired, and I end my day even shorter. So I wake up, I feel like I do a little bit of things, but I'm really very tired. And then I physically, I don't feel fit. So I feel that I feel very bloated. Just yeah, so I'm not satisfied with how I look. So that's when I feel that, oh, okay, I'm not resting well enough, or it's just too much stress that my body, maybe how I perceive myself when I look into the mirror is very much different. I find fault in everything. So I don't know if you guys feel the same. So whenever I'm very stressed and I look at the mirror when I wash my face, I'm like, oh, why am I so ugly? Why am I so fat? Why am I'm really working out, but why am I not, losing the weight that I want? So I try to, these are all negative thoughts. Okay? So this happens very naturally when you guys are for me personally, when I feel very stressed. Do you guys feel the same way or to a certain extent? Okay. When you have
The
that
stress started when I'm going to or having that amount of time.
Okay. the extra bloatedness. And
Yeah,
right?
it's like how my fingers are swollen, that is the ring mark is on my fingers, how my eyes have become smaller. Right, yeah, it's got like very puffy and a single eyelid, and how my face becomes round, and how I feel that my clothes become tighter. Yeah, this is how the physical sort of features that I feel when I'm going through or on the period time.
Okay. I think a lot of us can feel the same way. Because we're all women, right? And we go through the same cycle of life. So I did a training, I think 2 weeks or a month ago, where we talked about women's emotion. And it comes to a certain extent where it's amplified for women compared to men. When we talk about women's emotion, because there's a lot of things that women go through before birth, after birth, a lot of concerns for women in comparison to men. So why specifically this session is targeted to both women into learning how they can manage stress, right? So this time we talk about impact on physical and psychological health. We also talk about productivity and communication. So who feels that sometimes when they are stressed, it affects their communication, either with their partner or with their loved ones, okay, can you feel so? With your partner or with your colleagues or anyone, partner, how do you react usually when you're stressed?
I don't want to talk. Because I lazy to explain more.
Okay, does he know that you are stressed?
I don't know.
Okay, usually that's the case when your partner don't know that you're stressed, right? And then because they don't know, they will ask you a lot of things, and you feel even more frustrated. Even
Then
more
I told you already,
irritated.
you also do not know how to settle.
Okay, so this is how we see that it affects our communication, right? And now that is from a family setting. How about work? In the family setting, we are more relaxed because that person is closest to you. You tend to take things for granted. You can be yourself in a way because they can't do anything. It's not that you guys are okay. 签字离婚, right? It's not you guys sign the paper and just divorce, right? Because you guys are life partners, you guys have kids. But sometimes in a work setting, it's very much different. The person don't know you as well, so you have to have a certain. You need to manage it, right? So some people, if they don't know how to manage it, that's when conflict happens. You say things unexpectedly, too fast, without even thinking. Things come up too fast that you don't mean for it to happen. You don't mean it the way, but it happens, right? So that's when conflict happens. And then later on, we will also share on some conflict resolution, how we can manage conflict resolution through communication. Okay? So now we have covered the recap of this module and then also the first module. So before we move on to the next one, this time I mentioned we're going to do a simple stress reliever exercise, which is a progressive muscle relaxation. Because all of us have been seated for some amount of time, and then we're going to do it. Everyone can be seated. I'll have a volunteer. Anyone wants to volunteer to demonstrate? Okay, everyone has a seat. So I'm going to stand to explain while we have our newly mom to volunteer how to stretch, so she can do so. So first, we're going to sit halfway through your seat. Okay, and then we're going to do a simple neck twist first. Okay, so we're going to start with either left or right, whichever is comfortable to you. And then we're going to twist to one side to activate the muscle. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On the other side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then during the session, you're going to breathe. Okay? How we're going to breathe is, we're not going to do the deep breathing exercise now. We're going to do a simple in and out. So you're going to breathe through your nose and then exhale to breathe out through your mouth while you do the exercises. Okay? And you'll all be 5 seconds. Okay? So this time we did the left and then the right. We're going to rotate your head right now. Okay? So let's rotate one side slowly and then breathe. 2, 1. head part, we're gonna do a little bit on our shoulder. So we're gonna take our right hand, then we're gonna push it to the side. So we're gonna activate our shoulders to stretch a little bit. Okay, remember to breathe. So make sure that your head is straight, you're looking at the front, and you're breathing through. Okay, remember breathing is very important. Okay, now let's swap to the other side. The other hand. Remember to breathe. Okay, now we're gonna pull it to your back. So we're gonna activate your tricep. Sitting. Yes. Okay, make sure that it's aligned. You can see our model. Okay, let's change to the other side. How do you guys feel so far? Okay?
Okay.
I can see Crystal struggling a little bit. Okay? So sit more comfortably, but still halfway, just want to activate. And now we're going to do a simple twist. Okay, so we're going to twist to one side and then we're going to hold. So when you sit on one side, you can see how Haley is doing it. So your hand on one of the chair, back seat, yes. And then we're going to stretch, okay, for 5 seconds here. We're going to breathe through it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're going to swap the other side. Okay, 5, breathe out, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Now we're going to stand up. We're going to stand up. Everyone feels better now with sitting. Okay, we're going to move a little bit, stretch a little bit. Okay. Alright. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of a bend. We're going to bend down. It's okay if you're not flexible, but just want to activate your back muscle because we've been sitting for some time. You just want to activate the back muscle. So we're going to do it as such that how we're going to do a full fold. Full fold forward, okay? So, everyone's okay, right? Okay. You see how Haley does it. So just stand your feet apart, feet shoulder apart, and then we're going to move down forward slowly. Breathe. If you can't touch, it's okay. Just as long as you are at that comfortable position. Okay, breathe out. We're going to stand. Now, slowly breathe out. We're going to do this 2 more times, okay? Okay, breathe in. Let's fold forward. Okay, we're going to hold. Then we're going to breathe out. Okay, let's do one last time. Let's breathe in. And then fold forward. And then breathe out. We're going to come back up. I feel everyone has seen for a long amount of time, right? Okay, now let's go back to sitting. We're going to do a little bit of a leg exercise. So we're going to fold our leg. Like how, yes. Okay. Good job. And then now we're going to twist to the other side so that you're going to activate. So against, yes. So if you're holding on your right to left, then you twist on the other side. Okay. Okay, now let's twist back and then put your left leg on the right leg now. We're going to swap side and we're going to twist against that side. Yes. Okay, breathe out. How do you guys feel?
Good.
Good? Okay, so this is very, thank you Haley, I'm ready for that.
Yeah. The chocolate.
So this is a very simple progressive muscle relaxation. You can do it when you're sitting. If you're driving, you can just move around your shoulder, even like moving forward, moving backwards. It's just that so your muscle is not stiff, right? When you're working or when you're concentrating on one thing, it becomes very stiff, so that you're not moving. So that's when tension actually happens. Okay. Okay. So next, up to the third module, which is, I think, is what everyone anticipates, is your strategies on emotional management. Okay, stress and emotional management. We're going to cover 4 main topics, which is time management and prioritization. We're going to do effective communication skills, physical activity, and cultivating a healthy habit, as well as a stress reliever exercise. Okay, so just now we practiced So before we kickstart, what do you think influence an individual capacity to cope with stress? So just now I mentioned there are two internal and external factors, right? That happens. So now, in terms of coping with stress from an individual capacity, we are also looking into internal and external factors. Okay? So for internal, maybe because we don't know, we don't have enough knowledge on how to cope. We don't have enough understanding on the strategies. Maybe life experiences is influencing our capacity. A lot of people blame it maybe genetic. Okay, so these are experiences, right? It happens before. This thing, she also did it. So we are saying that other people experience it. So this influences our capacity to cope. They also have courage. Maybe some people are not willing to take the courage to make certain changes. Okay, and resilience. So resilience is our last topic. We will talk about how to develop resilience. It is a very lengthy topic, so that's why I put it at the very last, so we can have a certain break before we go into the topic. Okay, so these are the internal factors. We are looking also at the external factors. So what are the external factors that influence our ability to cope with stress? Money, financial ability. A lot of people say go yoga, go Pilates, but if you are in financial constraint, how are you going to do it? How are you going to attend classes? You're going to spend more money, right? And money is already a factor of your stress, right? Or maybe external factors, you can seek help or support from your friends or family. What if you don't? What if you don't have support from your friends or family? You're alone. That are external factors that influence your ability to cope. Okay? Job and food security. You're already concerned about job security. You're already concerned about if I'm able to provide my kids, my family food. And now, these are factors that will influence our capacity to cope with stress. Okay? So we explore this. Now, we're going to look at 4 very simple steps on how to manage stress and emotions. Okay? So it comes to a very logical one first, which is time management and prioritization. Okay. Who here thinks that they have very good time management? who wants to show of hands? No? No one? How about prioritization? You are able to prioritize things. Depends on what?
Yeah.
What do you think then? You have good prioritization. When what happens?
Actually, kids is not my priority. Myself.
Okay, for yourself, when you want self-care, self-love, or
if let's say that if let's say I have a mentality,
okay,
a mentality issue, then I will prioritize myself first. I want to look for that what happened.
Okay.
Actually, but it depends on the situation.
Okay, so yours is very situation based, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct. If like example have the like maybe in a work situation, then it's like example like the superiors have the or maybe my clients got something like want me to do now. So this is not prioritized.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think from today's perspective is when other people have a set expectation of yourself, then you want to prioritize to settle solution. Right? You're finding solution for your customer and also for yourself because you know it's urgent. So urgency matters when prioritization. Time management. Okay, let's explore a little bit about that. Okay? So no one here put up their hand for time management. Why do you think so? Why time management? Why aren't you able to practice time management? Because you want to ignore something, okay? So you don't want to address that certain things that are happening. So you just let it be. Okay. How about Chen Li?
Time management, because I don't want people to fix my time.
Okay. So you want to fix your own time, but you can't. But you can't.
Yeah. But
Because too
just
many things are happening.
me, should but it's not me. Because a lot of things are not fulfilled in my life.
Okay. So you feel that a lot of things are not happening in the
Yeah,
way you
yeah,
want.
yeah.
So it's
So-
like even if you plan, you're unable to even get it done.
Cannot achieve. It's not the time management. It's not. I meet up the people. The time is not. The time management for me is my life goal.
Okay.
Ah.
So you feel that you didn't achieve what you set goals.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Haley? Why do you think time management is a concern to you?
For example, like I'm meeting someone, but that person keep talking, then for me, my personality, it's very hard for me to reject others, or I tell him that if I'm very urgent, I need to go now.
Okay.
That's why the time will delay sometimes. Like, for example, I got next appointment at 4 o'clock, but the person keep talking, the client now keep talking, it's until 3:50 or 3:55, but still haven't finished talking.
Okay.
So that's why my next appointment will delay. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's
Something you have to work on. Okay. So yours is in terms of appointment and the rejection of others when they are talking during your appointment. Okay. How about myself?
I think I'm lazy.
Okay.
I'm sure I will complete on the day.
Okay.
I will check the time.
okay now later.
Okay, so procrastination, no? So someone that procrastinates, but you're still able to get things done.
Yes.
It's just that it's not in a timely manner. Okay. How about Kristen?
For me, it's more like my time management. I mean, I manage my time, but sometimes I'm like stuck with things that really blocking. Okay. Yeah. So you cannot plan it very well. Like when we are handling certain tasks at the moment, personally to lead our team, then you have to handle that particular task. Okay. So these were the things that why time management is concern for me when I have lots of different things to handle.
Okay. So I think it's a little bit similar to Haley, but yours is more the unexpected incidents or appointments or cases that happen throughout the year. How about Jessie?
That was quite similar. I really care about community, and I always manage my time earlier. So when things happen like unexpectedly, then you'll feel like things are not under your control, then you'll just feel like you didn't manage your time well. And it really comes out with prioritization.
Okay.
Especially in Malaysia, conversation very terrible when you are having very terrible career.
I agree very much so, because when you're driving, and especially when I was in Australia, I don't have to drive. So I'm very punctual when I'm back in Australia, because if I take the train, it arrives on time. That means I can plan ahead, right? I know I can get to this certain place at a certain time. I look at the time schedule, I plan ahead. Even if it's delayed, Australian time, even if it's delayed for the train, it wouldn't be more than 5 minutes. Maybe 3 minutes at most, but I'm still able to catch up because I plan ahead. But with Malaysia, you don't, infrastructure isn't that well constructed yet. So a lot of people drive. So with driving, now you have weather. If it rains, it gets even worse, right? So you are able to meet certain expectations of your appointment or what you need to be done. What happens if you are unable to meet, let's say now you plan something up, but this gets delayed, right? What happens? That means your day gets dragged longer. So things that are supposed to finish at 7, maybe you finish at 10. And things that are supposed to finish at 10, you finish at 12. So that affects your sleep. It goes on and on. It's a cycle you're looking into. Okay? So now here are some simple tips and also techniques on how you can manage this better. First, effective planning. How can we do so? Have to-do list. Okay, have to-do list. But with to-do list, don't write everything you need to do. That's when prioritization comes into place. Prioritize what you need to get it done at that certain day. If not, things will not go well. And then breaking down tasks into manageable steps. So this is something that I do very often nowadays. So I break my task down. So I don't write something very ambiguous. For example, I need to complete my slides. Okay, so complete slides is a very big thing, right? But I break it down, module 1 first, or module 1 and 2. So if I know that, okay, during this time frame, I'm able to complete this, or even earlier, then I can slot it. But if my time frame is longer, then I'm able to say, okay, I can prepare my script and this. So I break it down so that it's not a whole chunk. Okay? So for example, when I prepare for the training today, I wouldn't write prepare for training. I would say prepare training for first 2 modules, which is understanding stress and the impact of stress. Then the next day I will do practical strategies, and then I will do developing resilience. So I break it down. So my brain are also able to absorb and work more effectively. Okay? Then for prioritization, we focus on high priority tasks. High priority tasks are tasks that, if it's incomplete, it will have consequences. Okay? So if you're in a working environment, then will be a deadline, or when you need to hand into something that subsequent people will need to continue on the work. So that are high prioritization tasks. You also need to set reasonable deadlines. Okay, don't set deadlines like tonight. Okay, you know you're unable to do it, so give yourself that time, that buffer time, to be more specific and also be reasonable. 12 p.m. 27th December. You know, be more specific with time allocation. Okay, time blocking tool. Okay, so this is the tool that I use, where I will have one section where I dump everything in. So I dump everything I need to do in the day. Okay, for example, I start off my day today, right? Okay, 6 a.m. I need to wake up for a meeting. Okay, the meeting ends at 9. After 9 o'clock, I need to let my dog out. Okay, after I let my dog out, I need to clean the porch. After I clean the porch, I need to prepare my dog's food. After I prepare my dog's food, I need to shower. After I shower, I need to make sure my dog finish her food, and then I need to plan my next meeting, which is at 11:30. After 11:30, I need time, right, to go to arrive at location, so I need that buffer time. Then after arriving at that, I give myself 1 hour for that appointment. After the appointment, I need to deliver items to Subang. After I deliver to Subang, I need to do dry cleaning. After dry cleaning, I need to see, these are all in my head. If I don't write it down, I won't be able to catch up, right? Okay. After dry cleaning, then I need to arrive Subang, Empire. Then I need to give out training. But before giving out training, I need to test whether my projector works. And then after testing the projector, I need to give out the training. So I need to time 2 hours and more, okay? Or 4 hours, or depending on the training duration. After during duration, I need to do a recap. After recap, I need to settle. After settle, I need meeting again, and then I need dinner. So this is my dump pile. I don't need to eat. Oh yeah, I forgot eating. Okay, see, this is like just now I mentioned, when I'm stressed or when I'm doing things, I don't eat. Yeah, you see? So if you hear me talking through my day, right, you see I really leave out the eating component.
Yeah.
Okay? But this is my dumping pile. I dump everything in. But based on this dumping pile, I will choose 5 main things to put into my prioritization list. Okay? After I choose these 5 things into my prioritization list, I will list them down into a timeline. Because in a day we have 24 hours. 8 hours is sleep. That means actively you still have how many more hours? 16. Okay, 16 hours, right? Among that 16 hours, how many times you allocate, let's say for eating? 3 meals, so 3 hours, let's say. So you have 13 hours. After 13 hours, let's say you allocate some time for driving. Okay? So depending on how many locations, let's say I need 3 hours. Okay? So then I'm left with 10 hours. So in these 10 hours, with these 5 tasks that I prioritize, can I complete it? I prioritize it, then I slot it in. Then I will see, okay, training takes 4 hours. So that means my 10 hours, I will take up 4 hours at 6. So So morning session, my meeting must take 1 hour, right? And then after that, I have summary, I have recap, maybe that takes 2 hours. So you will slowly see your alone time gets lesser and lesser. But if alone time or if self-care is essential, slot it in. Because that is part of your prioritization. You need to prioritize yourself. So you slot it in. And then in that slot, when you prioritize yourself, you don't do anything else. That's why it's called a prioritization. It's called a blocking tool. I block this session for that specific task. Okay? So this is what I practice that you guys can start doing. This helped me manage my time more effectively, knowing how many hours I have in a day to complete it. This also means that if I sleep more than the set amount of hours, I'm losing time to finish my work. Okay? So it's indirectly giving you a little bit of stress, but this stress helps you to complete stuff. Okay? And you need to follow that timeline. It's about discipline. Okay? It's about discipline. Okay, yes, it's about more on discipline.
If I have too many things to do, I will start. So I will write down to do list.
Correct. Correct.
So I will, okay, this one done, this one done,
Yes,
yes.
very good. Okay, Crystal bring out a very important point. Tick. When you complete the task, you tick it, right? Okay, say now for example, I wrote 5 tasks into my prioritization list, right? What if the 6th task needs to be sloted in? Okay? I've already done it. Let's say I've already done it. And I just want to put it in so that I know what I completed today. Do I still tick that completed one? It's not part of the 5. I added it in. After, let's say I ended the day, I realized, hey, I did more than this 5. I did 6, 7. And I put 6, 7 in. Do I tick it?
Yes.
Good. Yes. Okay, statistically, research statistics says that if you completed the task and you tick it, you have satisfaction. Means you make yourself proud. And that is very important for self-care. Okay, achievement. It's your achievement that, today I feel very productive. And you need to remember days that you feel productive. Because that is days that you want to indicate. What happened during that day that made you productive? Because you sleep early. That's why you're able to complete too much tasks. Or you manage your time well. Okay, so you see there are certain results. Yes, Crystal. No. Good. So Crystal brought a very important point. Okay, so remember to tick. Next, we have effective communication. First, have clear and assertive communication. Okay, clear and assertive. If you are unhappy about certain things, construct it in a way that uses I. So I'm going down to using the I statement. Okay, why using I is important? Okay, now let's hear a little bit of a difference. You make me feel sad versus I feel sad. So when you say you make me feel sad, you're blaming others. You're putting this stress onto other people. But now if I use I feel sad today, people will say why? Because it's this. If you put the blame on others first, you make me feel sad, Crystal. How would that make you feel?
I will feel more stressed.
Right? Because you're trying to understand, you're trying to think what happened. What did I do? And when you say that, you yourself don't explain. You don't tell other people why you make me feel stressed. You can still say I feel stressed or I feel sad because when I ask this and this, you didn't do. But you start with I. So a lot of times when you internalize it to telling other people it's about you, they are more accepting and they are willing to support even further. So using this I statement is very important for a clear and assertive communication. After using this I, we need to practice active listening. We need to hear, we need to listen to what other people say instead of quickly jumping into conclusion. view, if you're standing in your partner's view, your husband's point of view, how do you think that makes him feel? Yeah. So he will feel upset. Then he will ask, why are you like that? Then you also don't know how you won't express it, right? So he will feel worse. So do you see the relationship because of something you don't express will worsen? Okay? So having that clear and expressive is very, very important. It can be, okay, so this happens between me and my partner. Okay? So when I'm upset, I don't like to talk. But my facial expression is very clear that I'm unhappy. Okay? So I want to let him know that I'm unhappy, but I won't tell him. So we had a very, very big argument 2 years ago, and it was MCO. So he was staying at my place, right? So we are stuck at home, and him looking at me, I look at him, and we're both very unhappy. So then it comes to one point where I went to the toilet and I started throwing things. Okay, but I throw things that can't be broken. So I throw like plastic, like a pillow, everything that are very, because I'm frustrated. So that's my way of expressing my emotions back when I was even very young. So it got built up. It's a habit. It's a bad habit. Okay? And then it comes to one point where he couldn't take it anymore. And then he said, we need to talk. Then I was like, okay, then you talk. So I just, because I don't want to say anything, right? Then he started expressing how he feels when I throw things. Then it kind of made me think that, oh, this is how you see me. So it actually makes me very sad. Seeing things from his perspective on how I behave, right? So then I was like, okay, then how can I resolve this? Then he said one thing that kind of opened up how we are better managing our relationship now, which is he doesn't know if I'm angry because of him or because of things that's happening outside. Because I'm just angry. Right? So he doesn't know if it's because of him or it's because of other things. So the only thing he wants to know, after communicating, right? The only thing he wants to know is if I'm angry because of him. If it's not, he can move on. Then I will just do it. How I manage her. But if it's because of him, he wants to know. So now our communication is if I'm upset, I will tell him I'm upset, not because of him. So he knows it's not because of me, but I'm upset. So he will give me time to process. Then he will ask me. But if I'm upset about him, I will say I'm upset about you. But give me 10 minutes or give me some time. Then we'll talk. So I let him know it's because of him, but I need time. So this is how we found the common language to communicate and to have people understand it. So this is something that I practice, and that's why I put it into here, so that expressing that needs and concern is part of communicating effectively. So what's that? คุยคุณโกจังแล้ว
哦。